Welcome to Sitecore Standard Values. My name is Sultan, Customer Transformation Director at Sitecore. In this podcast, we continuously seek to provide deeper insights into the value of Sitecore as a solution to business problems. With regular episodes with me in EMEA and my friend Rick in the US, we alternate to bring you a variety of guests to share their perspectives, experiences through a rich tapestry of discussions, opinions, and thought experiments. I'm super happy to welcome Zach Dugas, Global Product Owner, Content Management Systems and SaaS at Thule Group, based in Malmö, Sweden. Besides having actually great taste in podcasts, he told me he liked this podcast. Maybe he said that in order to be part of it. Future will tell. He's a cook by trade, and he's running now global content management and digital commerce at Thule. Zach's journey within Thule Group began in November 2012 when he took on the role of training specialist in Quebec in Canada, where he was responsible for hiring seasonal representatives and laying the foundation of his future roles within the company. So really starting from the customer experience side of the house, moving towards the entire digital, where Thule is currently doing a lot of investment and transforming the organization to be digital first and building relationship with their customers. So I asked ChatGPT to look at his profile, and I'll share with you what ChatGPT said. So just laying the ground for you, Zach. So
wow.
You're not just a professional. You're a visionary leader whose contribution to Thule Group in the industry at large are immeasurable. His approach to content management and digital commerce is both strategic and innovative, ensuring optimal outcomes for all stakeholders involved. I've had the chance to work with Zach over the last few months, and I can say that ChatGPT is pretty right. So thank you for joining, Zach.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. And I think you added a couple prompts in there to the ChatGPT to give it a little more, grace to that. But I appreciate it. It's really nice. Thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure to have you there. So I did not use any special prompt, so I can share with you after that. But it's what the system said.
Nice.
So as I said, you are a cook by trade. I also saw that you're an artist. You are a painter. So how did you end up working in technology?
Wow, it's a long question. It's a non-conventional journey, I would say, to be honest. But the root of the answer lies in the fact that my brain and everything that I think about is programmed by curiosity. So I'll touch on that later. But yeah, my mother had a restaurant when I was young. We grew up there for the period of time that she had it. So I was usually in the back in the kitchen, sampling the menu as a kid, and a little too much maybe. But it planted the seed, and I think what it did was after university, I jumped into the culinary world to cook, and I've been working in kitchens across the world. I did an internship in France. I worked in New Zealand, San Francisco. So I've worked in a fair amount of kitchens in Canada as well. And as different positions in that industry. And I tip my hat to anyone in the industry that I've worked with and everyone there that has been so great, because it really created a special work ethic that I kept going forward, which I take with me in everything I do. And I think, that curiosity has led me to Thule, which then has, led me to doing what I do now. So some 11 years ago, the curiosity kind of grew, and now I'm here sitting at the head office in Malmö in Sweden. And I've been a part of some pretty large initiatives and been able to work with you. It's really interesting, really exciting time.
No, it's really exciting. And for the listeners of yours that are not familiar with Thule, can you tell us more about them?
Yeah, for those not familiar with the brand, with Thule, it's part of a Thule Group, but Thule being the kind of the largest brand within the group. And I mean, like me, I 11 years, almost 12 now. It's a group of passionate people committed to developing the recognizable and high quality products that we make that are safe, easy to use, and built to last. That is our one of our brand, I guess, visions. And whether it is your bike, which I bike a lot, or your laptop, your snowboard, or your child. We specialize in ensuring that you can, live that active life
Mhm.
with those and to the fullest. So you bring the things you care about the most. So our
Yeah.
tagline: "Bring your life," and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Now, I have been using Thule products
Yeah,
for years
nice.
now. So I really like the quality, the build,
Mm,
but
mhm.
also the ease of use
Yeah,
in many cases.
yeah.
And as probably as one of those companies building great products, and you are also looking to embracing a D2C strategy. I don't know if I can call it a D2C, direct to
Mm,
consumer, or at least building relationship with your
mhm, mhm,
end users.
mhm.
Um, can you provide some background on your strategy and how you're managing the relationship with your partners?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
yeah,
It's a
it's a huge change.
Yes, I agree. And, like we were saying earlier, I mean, we aim to help people be out on the trail 10 minutes longer on your bike, or be out on in your kayak or in nature,
Mhm.
so you can enjoy that. And we take the same approach with what we're doing with our digital channels now more than ever. So being able to facilitate the user journey, and so you're spending less time, in front of a site that maybe isn't relevant as much. So we're really working on that in the back end, and it's great to be a part of that. But the strategy, yeah, is really towards, continuing to improve the user journeys. We've done some massive work on upgrading the back end of our site, infrastructure, and so on, and now the front end visually. And now the third key piece is tying it together with ensuring that the user journeys are, relevant and that fit our customers the best. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember as a user,
Mm,
I had this car, but this bike rack for on the bike on
yeah,
the car,
yeah,
and how do we install it? I was kind of lost, and so at the end of the day, you don't go back to where you bought the product, but then you'll go to the brand and
yeah,
you look for information on the product
mm,
and maybe get some inspiration on how to use the product, and maybe I miss an accessory,
yeah,
and I
exactly.
think this is really where you try to help your clients get more
Yeah,
out of the technology.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And you are an artist, so I'll share the link to your paintings. That's something I just
Wow.
discovered before the and a cook.
Mm,
And I think in a previous conversation we discussed about how digital transformation is, even though it's a very used word, it's still happening. Organizations are transforming their way of working and their business model to be more digital first.
mhm,
Um, it requires, especially for a large group like Tula,
mm,
it's very complex. And I would almost say it's like pretty much like cooking a risotto. Let's get
mm,
back to the risotto. So I
mhm.
tried once. I think since then my wife has forbidden me to enter the kitchen, which in a kind is a blessing.
Mhm,
So it's very hard, and that's an
mm,
art. And I think cooking and digital transformation can be seen like an art where
mhm,
you have so many elements. So
mhm.
what, based on your experience, what are the ingredients required? What are the mistakes to avoid
Yeah.
when you want to do it well?
I love it when we can talk about food. So I appreciate the opportunity, but the main thing is patience. Even though it might seem difficult, and that things can happen quickly, but just like a really good risotto, you need to make sure that you take the time to do it properly, and
Mhm.
that you stir it. I mean, I hope that all the nonnas in Italy would approve, but I'm a firm believer in making sure that we start with that, and with obviously quality ingredients. So I think those are the main pieces or the foundation to a really good risotto. But then you can get into the details, like, within those ingredients, the people that are part of the teams, and then the technology stack, and making sure that things are put to the best use. In a lot of Italian cuisine, it's a lot about the quality of the ingredients.
Hmm.
I had the chance once to go, to Sicily and visit in Noto. There's a cafe called Cafe Sicilia, which is a man who had the opportunity to be on chef's table, and I was there, and he sources his goat's milk, his almonds, everything locally from Sicily, and there is something in the soil in Sicily that just enriches the ingredients, and his gelato, his brioche, everything is just out of this world. I think I spent 50 euros just for breakfast on myself. He was probably really happy I was there, but I was also very, very, very full. But it was worth it, and I think the same applies here. That you while you have patience and you do it right, you also need to make sure that you're really trying to use the best ingredients you have, and make sure people are involved in every part of the journey. And some of the mistakes to avoid, I think, would be going maybe too fast in some areas, or maybe not taking the time to ask some questions, conversations that could have happened, or that could have brought up other topics. I know that we have to work against the clock a lot of times,
Hmm.
or the
Yeah.
budgets, or so on, but it's not too much to just have a quick breakout session, or to have a quick brainstorming, or to bring up things, especially in this landscape that is forever changing so quickly
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah. I do like your point on patience, and
Mhm.
patience versus probably expectations and revenue expectations.
Yeah, yeah.
So you are having people, you are spending money, and at
Hmm.
the same time, the money needs to come back. So
Hmm.
how do you how do you instill patience, and do you have some tips on how
Yeah,
can you?
it's a tricky one, but I mean, there are things you can do to, I know this expression of bringing back to food, low hanging fruit, but there are things you can do to to
Nice one.
yeah, to accomplish things that might not be exactly what you're after, or the kind of management is after, but you can prove that, oh, if we do this right now, we can return on investment maybe this, and so on. So there are things that you can do in the short term, that can maybe help. And it's always about proving the case that you have a journey, you have a goal, and you're getting there, right? So
Mhm.
as long as you're not stagnating or moving backwards, I mean, it's usually a positive conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had the opportunity to use Sitecore Send,
Mm.
in the meantime, and it's obviously not the same power as a CDP and personalized, but you can do a lot of things with Sitecore Send
Mhm.
out of the box, and
Yeah.
I think that was for us a great opportunity, as well as a learning as well. So
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. So it was an let's say that would be the appetizers that you
Yeah.
put on the table while the rest of the food is being cooked.
Yes, the
So
arancini sitting on the table with
yeah.
before you get into the risotto. So you can have double risotto style meal.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a good point, and I think that's something we have in many organizations
Mhm.
and in our lives as well, is that we want to go fast, and by
Mhm.
going fast, we miss some key points
Exactly.
that that make then the situation worse. So
Yeah.
yeah, if I ask you to make a risotto in 2 minutes,
No,
it,
I'll tell you. I mean, I will be try to say, yeah, I'll try to fix it, but I mean, most people will say, go grab a cup of noodles or something instead. Soup in a cup. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
But it's the same at Thule. I mean, we also manufacture products, make products that are built to last and have been tested rigorously. So we take the
Mhm.
time to ensure that these, before they hit the market, they have been proved, extensively. So it's a
Yeah.
similar
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually, that's probably one of the benefits you have, is that manufacturing mindset.
Hmm.
And that's, I put my bike on my
Hmm.
Thule rack, and then I just drove 2 minutes, and then my bike falls off,
Yeah,
because
that's
it's,
yeah,
the quality needs to be good, and it's the
exactly.
same with the transformation.
Hmm. Hmm.
No, that's pretty good. Is there based on your experience, and I mean your broad experience,
Mm.
is it something that surprised you, um, something you learned over the last few years that you said, hey, I would never have expected to learn that
Mm.
10 years ago?
Yeah, a lot. I came from the support and service background, at least at Thule. I started
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
I never thought I would be learning about, yeah, infrastructure and containers and Kubernetes. I don't think I would have ever thought about that 11 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, it probably hasn't been around maybe that long either, so it's hard to say. But
Mhm.
yeah, I've been learning a lot, and I bring with me, like you mentioned at the beginning,
Mhm.
the support and kind of service customer mindset with me.
Yeah.
I've had that experience, and that is invaluable when I
Mhm.
get into conversations with the teams here, what I do now. So
Yeah.
it's a good baggage, I would say, to
Mhm.
have.
No, I think it's a key baggage,
Hmm.
and I do think that Coca-Cola used to do that. I don't know if they still do it, but
Mm.
even if you started as CEO, you go on the trucks and you go and deliver
Yeah,
bottles, and
yeah,
you interact with customers, because you need to know, yeah, what
yeah,
customers are facing in order to better serve them.
exact. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So this podcast is called Sitecore Standard Values. And so I was wondering, what is your standard value, Zach?
Oh, it's a good one. And this is something that I said at the beginning, but curiosity would be my standard value.
Mhm.
I It might seem like a basic standard value, but I believe that it spans across everything, um, whether it's work, hobbies, or your personal life. And I'd probably not be here on this episode if I wasn't curious and had searched for Sitecore related podcasts a year ago
Mhm. Yeah.
and found this awesome podcast. So, you could say that, and then you could say I would probably not even be here at Thule if I wasn't curious about the amazing company and brand and products that we make, and put my snowboards in the cargo box, for example.
Mhm.
So that would be it, and it could be that the curiosity that I have also sparked the question to you about, are you ever going to do a standard values session of your podcast? You know?
That's a good question. That's a good question. That's something I need to pick up with Rick, but
Mm.
I think it would be interesting. Um, and I do like that curiosity. I've been playing with that thought
Hmm.
um, for a while now, on the power of curiosity. I think it's a superpower, to be
Hmm.
honest,
Yes, I agree.
because if you're curious, not noisy, but
Yeah.
not nosy, not nosy, but curious, really interested
Yeah,
into people, what they experience, and what different things mean. It opens the gates to a lot of things,
I
and
agree.
it's a bit what makes children great, is that they're curious.
Hmm. Yeah, and
So,
people in their careers as well.
mm,
With everything happening in the digital front right now with generative AI, and I mean, it's curiosity that's going to keep driving it further,
yeah,
I think. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think people, the curious, are the ones that thrive. So,
We'll see.
yeah,
See if
we'll
my
see.
risotto tastes good. If it doesn't taste good, then we know maybe I put a wrong ingredient because I was curious about something. So,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So curious and experimentation. Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's good. But I'm still up for risotto. So whenever
Sultan,
that comes up,
anytime. Anytime. We just need to organize the location, but I'll gladly make you a risotto. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. So, for all the listeners and the people watching, apologies, we cannot have you all, but we'll try to share some risotto secrets in the future.
Sounds good.
So, thanks so much, Zach, for joining the podcast today. Really
Thank you.
appreciate.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So, for all the listeners and people watching, please like, share, subscribe, discuss about it with your friends, and looking forward to see you in the next episodes. Thanks so much, Zach. Have a great day. I'm going to enjoy my lunch.
Take care.
Take care.